An emergency meeting of the BRICS countries is scheduled for Tuesday to discuss the situation in Gaza, and a presidential election in Argentina may upset the balance in Latin America and among the BRICS countries. For more on that, we go to Moscow to speak with analyst Mark Sleboda. Mark?
Could you maybe help us take some of this apart and understand what's going on?
Don, so Russian president is going to participate in an emergency BRICS summit video conference with the other BRICS leaders, which will include, of course, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, is now the president of BRICS. He's the chair, of BRICS. But also the new BRICS members, which will be officiated at the beginning of the next year. Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the UAE were also invited to join the event. And on the public agenda is the, quote, the current humanitarian crisis in Gaza, otherwise known as Israel's carpet bombing of the city and ethnic cleansing and genocide in action, facilitated and provided political flak floor by the West, whom in their soft admonishments to the Israeli government as they continue to shovel bombs into their hands, is playing this kind of good cop, bad cop routine to limit the amount of diplomatic damage that the U.S. and the rest of the West will suffer in the eyes of the rest of the world for allowing this to happen. Right. Interestingly, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, will join the meeting as well. He has been pretty soft on Israel in the comments that I have seen coming out of the UN. So that's a bit of a surprise, and we'll have to see what comes out of that. But by the way, the BRICS members currently are all, of course, very much critical of the Israeli bombing of Gaza, the extent of their genocidal overreaction to the Hamas attacks on Israel. But I think also, at least unofficially on the agenda that will be discussed, at least among the core members, is what just happened in Argentina as a result of presidential election over the weekend. And on January 1st, Argentina will have a radically new president, Javier Milei. Javier Milei is I think you could rightly call him a far-right populist libertarian, who his own followers call El Loco, or the madman. They also call him the Whig for his unruly mop of black hair and enormous sideburns. Evidently the hair is real. And he is defined as an admirer and ally of Donald Trump in the United States, whom he is often compared to, and indeed Trump has already congratulated him. And in fact, his own followers wear red MAGA hats, make Argentina great again. So
that sounds familiar.
Yeah, his policy, he does have an academics background, and has taught at Argentinian University, neoliberal economics to be sure. He's taught at universities in Argentina. He's also been chief economist at one of Argentina's largest business conglomerates, including ownership of airports. But he's also, I think he came more to fame because he played a bombastic pundit on TV political talk shows. That is how he came to the public eye. And he follows what has been quite a long spell of the, shall we say, Peronist political party, left, slightly more left of center party in Argentina that followed Nestor Kirchner, Cristina Kirchner. There was a brief spell there, and then one of her ministers, Fernandez, Alberto Fernandez took the reign after a brief 4-year term by a center-right politician. So, but mostly center-left politics for going on for more than 2 decades. There has been very bad economic situation in Argentina, which has led to this 150% inflation. The Argentina peso reduced to minuscule value compared to the dollar. Very, very bad economic situation there. And he promises to cure anything, and it seems to be a general, our economic situation has gotten bad, no matter these, people who have been running us. So let's desperately vote in someone who at least promises something completely different.
But that didn't work with Macri, who was the president before.
The center, right? But Macri was sane, I would say, and moderate in comparison to
this guy. Yeah, right.
Javier here. He promises to dollarize the Argentinian economy, bring Argentina closer to the U.S., stop government funding of health and education, radically reduce the size of government. He believes climate change is a cultural Marxist plot. He is a self-proclaimed expert in tantric sex.
Oh boy.
He says that he only finishes once every 3 months. I guess he thinks that's an accomplishment.
If you're somebody in a country that's used to, a continent that's used to having it done to them by their leaders, maybe this is a favor. I don't know.
Maybe. After his victory today, he went out into public in crowds of his followers and waved the Israeli flag. Because evidently he's a big supporter of the U.S. and Israel. He's an opponent of Russia and China. He wants the
Ukrainian flag too, by the way, the other day.
Yes. He also supports the Kiev regime in Ukraine. He wants to cut relations with Brazil and China, who are Argentina's 2 biggest trade partners.
Right.
But a guy claims to be an economist. The U.S. is number 3 on the list. Right. He wants to pull. He wants Argentina not to join BRICS, although there's some question whether he'll be able to do this because he'll have a very difficult presidency because he has only a very small allied members of the Argentinian parliament. So he'll find it rather difficult there for at least a couple of years. But I think this radical change in foreign policy and stance and this guy and the potential, at least short-term geopolitical repercussions of him becoming president of what was supposed to be a new BRICS member will be discussed at this emergency BRICS meeting as well. And this is one of the problems of expanding a multilateral organization beyond core members that generally see eye to eye. Is now you have to deal with the politics and the domestic politics of much more disparate members. And Brazil was already a problem under their last president.
Mark, thank you so much. And we're going to keep an eye on what happens in Argentina for sure. And, of course, we'll discuss next week what happens with the emergency session of the BRICS. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
For KPFK, I'm Don DeBar.